Well, I showed up in Minneapolis, and here's Trump's Gestapo ruining our country.
Right now. That's your city.
So get the fuck out!
Fuck you!
No, fuck you! Fuck you!
Move on right now! Hey, back up! Back up!
The city.
This is how the sheriff works. This is how this guy works.
Wow, that really looked like they were making America great again. Yeah! These guys are showing up everywhere. Here they are showing up at San Antonio at the court where some asylum seekers had shown up to have their legal hearing heard, and then they arrested them.
Están mis hijas esperándolos en la casa. 6 niñas tengo, dependen de nosotros.
Ayúdenme.
No vengan porque se los van a llevar a todos.
Oh, great. This is America, where we rip families apart and send them back to danger. And they're always wearing masks. Why are they wearing masks?
Why do you wear the mask? Why can't you answer that question? Huh? I mean, I don't understand why you don't answer the question. Dude.
The guy had no answer, did he? But the ICE director does have an answer.
So a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is. They are wearing those masks because we ran an operation with the Secret Service where we arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families were labeled terrorists?
You see how he just flipped the script? He just flipped the script. I'm not saying that they're not being doxxed, but if they weren't wearing masks, we wouldn't need to dox them because they would identify themselves in doing something that's legal. And as a matter of fact, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries would like them to show their faces.
We want the agents that were harassing Jerry Nadler's staffers in his district office also identified. What's the latest, or how are Democrats going to respond to the jail?
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. That in fact is the law. And we're going to make sure that the American people have the transparency necessary to hold people accountable when they're folks who cross the line.
Now, Hakeem Jeffries' goal of having the ICE agents show their face is noble, and it's more of what America normally stands for. However, given the fact that the Democrats don't have a lot of power, who knows if this is going to happen? Currently, they're just running roughshod all over everything, this Trump administration, with the ICE agents that are basically the Gestapo. They're stopping people in the streets saying, we don't think you're a citizen, or we don't think you should be here, and they're kicking them out. And this all started during the campaign when Trump had said, we're going to get rid of these violent criminals that are undocumented. And then a little while after that, they said, you know what? we're going to get rid of just anybody who's undocumented. Then a little while after that, they started going after people with green cards. Then a little while after that, they started deporting citizens. Yes, they've deported citizens. There's a couple of babies that got deported because they were deporting the mother. And the father, in that case, had wanted the baby to stay, and the mother took the baby. They were under duress, and they left. And we got to look at this and say, what is going on? Is this stuff legal? Well, it sure doesn't seem legal, because if it were legal, they would show up, no mask, this is who I am, this is what's going on, this is why you're being arrested. What about due process? Whatever happened to due process? We're not getting any due process. It's just getting people, putting them in planes, sending them to Louisiana, send them down to El Salvador. Matter of fact, a court just said that there's, I think, 17 Venezuelans sent to El Salvador, and the court said that they deserve their due process, that the government's got to bring them back. Now, the Trump administration has been ignoring court orders. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a autocracy right now. We are in a dictatorship. That's what we're in. Don't even question it. Because the fact is, they're doing whatever they want. They're ignoring the courts. They ignored the Supreme Court. Remember that guy, Abrigo Garcia, who had been deported because they said that he was a part of MS-13, and then Trump said that, he had MS-13 on his knuckles, but that was clearly photoshopped. That guy's still there. He hasn't come back. The one person that they did release was, if you remember, there was the Turkish graduate student at Tufts University who'd written an op-ed piece about her criticism of the war in Gaza, of Israel's bombing of Gaza, and they took her to Louisiana, and now they've let her go. But the other one, Mahmoud Khalil, who was the leader of the protests in Colombia, he's still in prison. There's no due process. And then you got people like Nancy Mace, Congresswoman Nancy Mace, who are coming out saying, well, due process only applies to citizens. That's not the case. Matter of fact, in the Constitution, it actually says that there's due process for all peoples in America, because the founders wanted to make sure that there's no abuse of people living in America. And here we are right now, currently. You saw all the clips I showed you. They're just showing up. They're arresting people, putting them in vans, putting them in a prison, holding facility, sending them back to the country where they're coming from, where they had danger. And I'm going to say that the immigration system is broken. But the way to fix it is not by just deporting everybody who came here legally trying to look for example, the asylum seekers are looking for asylum. They're seeking asylum. That's something you're supposed to be able to do. Those people are legally trying to come to America, and we're telling them no. It's one thing to say, okay, the guy snuck in, et cetera, wasn't trying to come in legally, and we're going to go see if he had some criminal record. What's he doing? Is he leading a good life? Is he contributing to American society? How about we look at that? How about we deport some of these people that are citizens who are just not good people, like Stephen Miller? Let's deport that guy. How about we deport J.D. Vance? Let's deport that guy. How about we deport the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers? Those guys are more dangerous to Americans than these immigrants who are just trying to work and do the jobs that most immigrants wouldn't do. Most immigrants wouldn't do these jobs that they say they're taking. But that's the dictator playbook. You go after the marginal. You go after the people that have no strength and no rights to defend themselves. And that's what you do. And you say, those are the people that are causing your misery, MAGA. Those are the people that are causing your misery. So we're going to get rid of them. And by the way, let's look at who's profiting from all of this stuff. Where do you think these people go? They go and get held in facilities. And the more people they arrest, they just up the quota. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, she's just upped the quota of how many people they want ICE to arrest on a daily basis. Do you understand what that means? That's like when we say, end of the month, some police officers start pulling people over because they have a quota to fill. I don't even know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard. Now, ICE has a quota to deport people. That's crazy. That means that there's going to be more and more people arrested. There's going to be more and more need for facilities to hold them in. And who benefits when there's need for more and more facilities? The people who build those facilities, who probably are in bed with Donald Trump. They're his buddies. They're building those facilities, whether it's the Halliburton types or the Eric Prince types. Who knows who's behind these things? But they're getting rich off of deportation. So congratulations, more grift for Trump and his friends. So we're in this situation now where these ICE agents, I bet you, if you looked at it, I bet you that some of the people who stormed January 6th, if not one, maybe two, maybe three, are in ICE deporting people. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if those same people who were criminals or members of the Oath Keepers or members of the Proud Boys are in ICE deporting. I guarantee you that that is one of the cases. I guarantee you, because these people get off on this type of stuff. You have to be somewhat sadistic to do this to people. If you had any ounce, an iota of empathy and sympathy, you would not be doing this to some mother with her husband who go down to the courthouse in San Antonio for their asylum hearing, and they have their kids at home, and she says, I can't breathe, I'm having an anxiety attack. Sorry, lady, get in the van. Get in the van, lady. Get in the van. Horrible. Horrible, shameful. They should be ashamed. We should be ashamed. And we really, really, the only way, hopefully there's brighter days ahead. Hopefully there's days ahead where we realize that these immigrants who are coming here and trying to make a better life for themselves are not the problem. Meanwhile, by the way, let's not forget, Donald Trump is allowing white South Afrikaners to come to America. So really it goes in the end to color. We're kicking out people of color and we're bringing in white people. It's really sick. It's really like you really couldn't imagine, like if you wrote this in a script, in a movie script, you'd be like, no, you're making the guy, the Trump, to seem too much of a villain. Well, he is. So here we are, folks. What are we going to do? What we're going to do is we're going to stay vigilant. We're going to do what those people did in Minneapolis. Show up and say, hey, what are you guys doing? Maybe obstruct some of these arrests. It happened in San Diego as well. They went down to these restaurants where people were working and they started arresting people that are working in restaurants, just earning a living. And the neighborhood showed up and said, what are you guys doing? Get out of our neighborhood. So hopefully the courts, hopefully your efforts, hopefully the efforts of those standing up to this Gestapo will actually work. We can only hope. Guys, I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a YouTube page right here on YouTube where I post comedy clips. Check it out. Give me a follow. Let me know you came to me from Rebel HQ. And thank you for watching.